The number one dilemma that every figurative artist has starts even before the painting begins. It's about the model. What do I paint? Where can I find a good model to paint from? And more importantly, how do I display it? You can paint from screens, a print, you can do a still life, or even paint from a live model. They all have their limitations and advantages, but the model that you get when you paint is so important that you really want to give a good thought about how you display it. If you want to paint realism, having a good model to look at as a reference makes it a lot easier to make a successful painting. So what's the best kind of model to place next to your easel? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's do that in order of popularity. I had a poll on my channel asking you guys how you display your models. And as you can see, almost 70% of the people use some type of screen. And it's not surprising because they're everywhere now. They have very good image quality, the colors are great, and they are just super useful in general. So it can be a computer monitor, a laptop, a tablet, or even better and more fancy, a pen display that you can use with a stylus. And talking about that, Huon sent me their Kamvas Plus pen display to test out for you. So this isn't a paid promotion. I'm free to say whatever I want, but I've been using this pen, like digital painting tablet pen display for a while now in my studio, and I can tell you that it's extremely good. I'm very happy with it. It's been a very solid digital painting tablet for the price. Now, keep in mind that I don't use it for digital painting per se. I'm still purely a traditional painter, but I've been using this tablet for a while now to do some basic image editing for my paintings, like collage of references or a simple retouching of colors on my paintings or on my models, retouching on the fly or annotating like that. And I can say that it's been really good. I mostly use the screen as a display because I'm painting, so this is my main surface that I'm using, of course. But I have to say that in a way I couldn't go back and abandon the ability to annotate and paint directly on the screen with a stylus. So here I'm a little dim so that you can really see the colors. I'm showing this to you with my color wheels. I created these wheels myself and they are very even, and you can see it displays it very evenly. I don't know how the camera is going to be capable of picking it up, and if I make a screen capture, it's not going to give you a real impression of how the colors look from the outside. This is why I'm very dim. The camera tries its best to pick up the colors, but I can tell you that from here it's very even, very balanced. With these, for a traditional painter, the key is color accuracy and the control of the settings. And this panel gives very clean color with no glare thanks to the matte surface. And you can really fine-tune the settings here, and you can go pretty much in depth and make the colors exactly how you want in the options here. The thing is, normally you don't trust the screen that comes out of the factory. You want to calibrate it, and it's super important. I remember working from my older screen that had a strong blue tint, and I couldn't really fix it like that. And I remember that one time we were having a painting session on Discord, and the painting I did, it was a study after Sargent. It felt great. I loved painting it. Everybody told me how it looked a little blue, but for me it was exactly how I saw it. And this is the problem with color accuracy. My painting was just too blue because my screen was just too blue. With this one, you can really go in depth in the color settings and make it exactly how you want. Now, I have to say, normally you have to calibrate your screen with a special program and a little calibrator that you put on your screen. It's the proper way to do it so that your computer applies the same calibration to your printer and all. And it can be done this way. That's how you normally do it. But I don't like how it messes up all my settings on my computer when I change, and I was disappointed by the results that I had in the past, and now I prefer to calibrate manually. I usually use photos of my paintings. I display a photo of one of my paintings that I still have around on the screen. I get the painting next to it and I make it so that they match with the screen. I also do that on my laptop here. And it works really well because I know the colors by heart, and because you can manually adjust, the screen is matte and has a nice touch feeling while remaining very crisp in the detail. It doesn't make the image blurry like some pen displays do, and there's very little space between the area where your pen touches and the actual pixels. The other great thing is the size. 22 inches it's big enough to feel natural when you draw on it, and it's also big enough so that you can place it and you can, let's say, paint. You have a portrait model here, you can make it side size with no problem. The stylus, so if you want to paint digitally, the stylus is great. It's very responsive and smooth. It's great for brushwork and details. Now, this doesn't come from Huon, but getting it with an articulated arm like that is super useful. You can even turn it like that depending on how you need, and you can place it anywhere you want with ease. I mean, this is something that's absolutely wonderful to have. The biggest quality of the screen is its versatility. I really like to use it next to my traditional painting with an articulated arm like that. You can place it right next to your easel, so it's perfect for whatever you need to do, sketching ideas, testing adjustments, making corrections on the fly before committing to the canvas, or just display your model like that. I can pretty much get my model right next to my canvas before I paint. This is absolutely awesome. Overall, it's a very pleasant pen display to use. It has great image quality, great colors. If you're interested, you can check out the link below. But right now, let's talk about screens in general, because to be fair, I think that there are benefits to all pen displays and monitors in general, as long as they have good color accuracy, because they're always available. You just have to plug them to your computer and there you go. And they can be an extension of your computer screen where you do most of your work. And because it's linked to your computer, you can store thousands of references and the possibilities are simply endless. Now, of course, the screens have limitation, all screens, because they emit their own light, meaning that the colors and the values will kind of shift compared to what you would normally experience with an object from real life. If I had the same thing to look at in real life, it would simply not look exactly the same. Also, a poorly color graded screen makes it very hard to evaluate the colors. Ultimately, the main problem with the screens is that somehow the model always feels like it lives in its own little separate world, different from what's happening on the canvas. And that's why sometimes you might want to consider our next option, the printed model. If you want to have a more palpable version of your photo model, the best option is probably to print it. It's stable, it's non-glowing, it's truer to the light context next to your easel, it's truer than a backlit screen that will emit its own light, making it easier to judge the subtle relationships in tone. And it simply just feels more right there. I don't know how to say it. It feels like there is a physical connection with the model, even though it's still a flat source with the limitations of a printer. The only problem, though, is the image quality, because some say that a printer can only produce a sort of a washed off version of the image on screen. Plus, printers are pure evil, and somehow they always run out of magenta for some reason, or there's always something that goes wrong in the printing process. And if you want to have good quality reliably with a printer, you're gonna have to pay a premium, or good luck trying to make your printer work most of the time. I just hate printers. They've just wasted way too much of my money in the past, so now I print with the cheapest quick draft quality I can, only for the basic precautions. I get something in black and white, which is why at the end of the day, investing a little more in a good screen with good colors might save you money long term if it can save you from buying ink all the time and making costly prints regularly. Now, of course, I'm biased here because I hate printers, and there are good printing options with professional quality out there, but it's expensive. So maybe consider this option only if you plan to sell prints of your art, which can be a good idea. And in that case, we're talking about something totally different and enjoy printing because it's now part of your business model. But if you just want to make humble prints, just to print models and put them next to your easel, then in that case, try to keep the cost reasonable, because after all, these are mostly disposable images. For painters, prints are very helpful for the proportions, the values, and if you can print a photo of the desired size on your canvas like that. Prints are very helpful for preparatory work, but ultimately the colors of your printer will pale in comparison to your paints. But still, in the painting process, prints, they have their use. They allow you to pin references next to your easel, make a little mental map of your process with prints is a good idea. My recommendation is that you keep the prints only for when you feel that you really need to have a sort of a physical presence of your model next to your easel so that you really see the picture. And mostly for judging the colors, I recommend still using a screen if you're gonna work from a photo. Still life. Real painters paint real things. They always have, and the still life is the art form that exemplifies this the most. The pros of a still life is that you have real depth, real light, real form, and the ability to just grab, move things around, and also rotate around your subject to really see what's going on. And with a good black box like this one, you can control everything. The setup, the background, you can even put some light effects like that. You can really do anything you want, and then you just have to paint it. Now, the cons, of course, is that it's kind of static and limited to small common objects. For bigger objects and more unusual elements, you might still have to take photos and therefore use a screen or use a print. You don't get as much possibility for imaginary elements and special effects as what you have with a digital tablet or a computer screen. But the process of putting a still life together is an art form of its own. And once you've got your model in place, you can really study how the light behaves across the form, the color, the texture. And this gives you full control over your arrangement. Let's say for a complex subject like this one, probably the photo would give me something kind of strange, and I would not necessarily understand whatever is happening here with the optical elements of this glass. But with a still life, I can get closer, turn my head, move my hand around, and see how it really goes. By adjusting the setup, I can also change the light source, make it brighter, change the background color if I want. I just put drapery in the back. So still lifes are perfect for that. Practicing color mixing, edge control, developing the patience with observation, because the good thing is that it won't go anywhere, it won't move. All painters should have a still life box like this one in their studio. It's absolutely necessary, I think. And the one that I did myself is super simple. You can make it with wood or even use an old cardboard box and hang drapes in the back. It also works. I always have this one available for whenever I want to paint a still life, or sometimes take photos of small objects for references to make a collage of different photos. It's like a mini studio where I can really control the light. You can adjust the top to let more or less light inside. This is why we usually make these still life boxes black, because it makes it easier to shut off the rest of the light coming from the rest of the studio. So in theory, with one of these, you could be in the middle of a supermarket and still have the ideal light that you decide to have on your subject. So just this is lighting my subject and not the light that I use to actually see something on my canvas. And the final type of display for your model that we're going to check out today is where I'm at right now, the model seat. Live model sessions are the foundation of classical training for a reason. The live model is the gold standard of classical art. Nothing teaches more about structure, about proportions, the vitality of just working from life and adapting to any little subtle color, atmosphere, little variations in the expression. Everything is there, and it teaches you one of the most fundamental skills that you might need as an artist is adjusting based on what you think is the best artistic quality of your subject. The problem with working from a live model is that, of course, it is sometimes expensive unless you ask all your friends to pose for you, all your friends and relatives. It's also time limited because people don't have limited time to sit there and just do nothing and stare. A lot of people are very unfamiliar with the sheer difficulty of what it means to just sit there, look at something in the back and not move for the next 20 minutes. It requires a lot of patience for the model. Not everybody is ready for that. It also requires patience and preparation for you as an artist. So that's one of the big cons, is just how it's very unrealistic to assume that as let's say a beginner or just a modest artist, you're gonna have live models all the time. If you hire actual professional models, it's going to be extremely costly all the time. So what a lot of people do is they hire models, they take photos, and then they work from photos, or they do live sessions, but they finish with photos. But really, this is the best way to improve at painting the human form. It's with actual models, because a live model breathes and shifts and moves. So you need to adapt and prioritize and make artistic decisions rather than copying mechanically, which is something you have a tendency to do when you work only from photos. Develops not just the accuracy of your paintbrush, but also the expressiveness, because you're going to talk to your model. You're going to share with them. You're going to ask them questions. You're going to ask them how they feel. And you're going to see subtle shifts in the expression, in the emotion, in what you see in their eyes. You'll see the boredom at the end of the sessions. And also you have this very unique experience, this very unique moment of during breaks when your model stands up and has a look at the painting that they are modeling for. And this is quite a unique experience. This is something you have to experience at some point. It's really a great feeling. It's a wonderful experience. It's a very human experience. It's all about sharing, all about learning the person, learning to get to know the person. You don't have to know their lives, but you have to know their appearance by heart. You get to explore something very unique about what makes us all human. So of course, it's not for everyone, and not all your painting sessions can be done with a live model realistically, but if you have the opportunity, by all means, grab it. So in the end, what model should you get? What's the best way to display your model? And what's the best thing to put next to your easel? Is it a screen? Is it a print? Is it a still life? Or is it a live model? Well, why not all of them? And this is the key to the dilemma. No single model is the best. They all have their advantages depending on the context and depending on what you want to do. For example, you might want to, let's say, nail the proportions with a print and then just trust your screen for mixing the colors because it has better color accuracy than your print. Or you might have a live model for one day only, and then you take photos and you do one session and you finish with photos. Then of course on your screen, the screen is of course the go-to model resource for most modern painters, as it's versatile and easy to use. The print is good for proportions, value judgment, and preparation in general. The still life is great because it's an art form of its own. You get to see the real objects, but it's limited to small objects when there's no reason to use anything else. You don't need to take a photo of a vase to paint a still life of a vase, and you should by all means, if the object lends itself size-wise, you should always prefer to do a still life. So getting a good black box is essential. And finally, the live model is of course the pinnacle of painting the moment, but it's also kind of a luxury in a way, but sometimes it's an essential kind of luxury. So there is no best way to display your model. You're going to cycle through all of them, and some of them will be more useful depending on the situation. And that's up to you to decide. That's up to your artistic vision. If you want to check out another great video, check out this one next.